13 car brands across America are in full financial freefall right now, and the executives running these companies do not want you to know how bad it actually is. Nissan is cutting 20,000 jobs and closing factories. Volkswagen just killed their American-made EV after spending $800 million building the factory for it. And one brand on this list has been reduced to selling a single vehicle, a minivan. That is the entire company. I am about to count down all 13, show you exactly why each one is fighting for survival in 2026, and break down what these desperate fire sale prices mean for you if you are shopping for a car right now. Make sure you subscribe, because this is the kind of breakdown that will change how you see every car commercial and dealership visit for the rest of your life. Number 13. Dodge. Here is a number that should make every muscle car fan sick. The new Dodge Charger Daytona EV sold 7,421 units in all of 2025. The old Charger with the V8? It moved 76,000 units in 2023. That is a 90% drop in the nameplate's volume. Dodge CEO Matt McAleer said it publicly. They have been getting their butts kicked. And he is right. The Durango now represents 89% of Dodge's total volume. One SUV is keeping the entire brand alive. Stellantis dealers are sitting on 127 days of Dodge inventory. The industry average is about 83. That is a month and a half of extra unsold cars baking on the lot, losing value every single day. Imagine owning one of those dealerships. You have got millions of dollars in floor plan loans on cars nobody is walking in to buy, and the factory keeps shipping more. And what is Stellantis doing about it? Employee pricing for everybody. $7,500 in cash on the Compass, $10,500 in total rebates on the Ram 1500. They are not selling cars. They are liquidating. Kevin Farish, the president of the Stellantis National Dealer Council and a CDJR dealer in Virginia, sent an open letter in September 2024 accusing former CEO Carlos Tavares of reckless short-term decision-making with devastating consequences for the U.S. market. Tavares resigned in December. That is how ugly this got. Dodge killed the Hemi, watched customers walk away, and then announced the Hemi is coming back for 2026. It is like breaking up with someone and then showing up at their door 6 months later saying you made a mistake. Maybe they take you back. Maybe they already bought a Camaro. But Dodge at least still has volume through the Durango. The brand coming up next does not even have that excuse. Ford's luxury division is disappearing and almost nobody has noticed. Number 12. Lincoln. Ford's luxury brand is in the middle of a slow-motion vanishing act. Lincoln has cut its dealer network from 685 stores in 2021 down to a target of around 450. That is 200-plus dealerships gone in 3 years, and the sales numbers tell you why. Lincoln Aviator sales dropped 21% in the third quarter of 2025. The Nautilus slipped too. And while Ford's main brand is growing, Lincoln is shrinking right alongside it. Ford just launched employee pricing for everybody in May 2026 after their overall sales dropped almost 9% in Q1. That tells you how desperate things are across the whole company. Lincoln has no electric vehicles in its US lineup. In 2026, when Genesis, Cadillac, and BMW are all pushing EVs into showrooms, Lincoln is showing up empty-handed. And the dealers who remain are watching their franchise values erode in real time. A Lincoln franchise used to be a golden ticket. Steady volume, loyal customers who came back every 3 years, profitable service departments. Now those same owners are running the math on whether it is cheaper to stay open or pay to get out. The brand keeps trying to figure out what it wants to be when it grows up. Is it the quiet luxury alternative? The tech-forward American option? Nobody at Lincoln seems to know, and the customer sure does not either. When your salespeople cannot explain why someone should pick you over a Lexus, you have a problem that no amount of Matthew McConaughey commercials can fix. But Lincoln's identity crisis looks manageable compared to what is happening at our next brand. Because this one is clinging to a partner that might not survive the year. Number 11. Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi's US sales dropped 14% in 2025 to just 94,754 vehicles, and that number is generous because it still includes months where the Mirage was on sale before they finally killed it. The Mirage, a car so universally mocked that owning one became a personality trait. Now the entire US lineup is 4 vehicles: the Outlander PHEV, the Outlander Sport, and the Eclipse Cross. That is it. 4 cars trying to justify 330 dealers staying open. Mitsubishi is running 0% financing for 72 months on the Outlander, plus a $4,500 factory rebate on the plug-in hybrid. You do not offer deals like that when things are going well. You offer deals like that when the factory is begging the dealer to take inventory off its hands. And here is the real problem. Mitsubishi's survival depends on the Nissan-Renault alliance. Nissan is supposed to share platforms, engines, and development costs, but Nissan is bleeding so badly right now that propping up Mitsubishi is like asking a drowning guy to save the person drowning next to him. J.D. Power ranked Mitsubishi at 256 problems per 100 vehicles. That is 30% worse than the industry average, but at least Mitsubishi knows what it is. The brand coming up next is supposed to be a step above Chevrolet. Supposed to be. Wait until you see what GM quietly did to it. Number 10. Buick. You might not think of Buick as a brand in trouble, and honestly, it is not going bankrupt tomorrow. But here is what GM quietly did that nobody is talking about. They bought out roughly half of every Buick dealer in the country. About 1,000 stores, gone. And GM spent over $1 billion making that happen. That is not confidence. That is a controlled retreat. The Buick lineup is down to 4 SUVs: the Encore GX, the Envista, the Envision, and the Enclave. Not a single sedan, not a single EV in the lineup. And here is the part that should embarrass every Buick executive. Chevrolet buyers are spending about $12,000 more per vehicle than Buick buyers. Think about that. The brand that is supposed to be a step above Chevy is actually selling cheaper cars. It is like the VIP section at a nightclub being emptier and sadder than the general admission floor. The only thing keeping Buick alive is that GM does not want the political headache of killing an American brand. That is not a business strategy. That is life support. Speaking of brands that cannot seem to get anyone to notice them, let me tell you about a Swedish car company that is burning through cash like it is trying to heat a mansion with $100 bills. Number 9. Polestar. Polestar lost $2.357 billion in 2025. And here is the part that really hurts. They have a negative gross margin of 35%. That means for every car they sell, they lose money before you even count rent, salaries, marketing, or anything else. It costs them more to build the car than they charge for it. The stock is traded below $1. Fewer than 8% of EV shoppers can even name the brand. You cannot sell cars to people who do not know you exist. Polestar killed the Polestar 2 in the US and pinned everything on the Polestar 3 and 4. But the 4 is built in South Korea, which means tariffs just ate whatever slim margin they were hoping for. Volvo has pulled back funding. Parent company Geely is reportedly losing patience. Industry insiders say Geely is considering either dramatically scaling back Polestar or folding it into Volvo entirely. At this point, Polestar is basically a concept car company that accidentally started delivering vehicles. But at least Polestar has the excuse of being new. The brand coming up next has been in America for decades and still cannot figure out how to stay relevant. Number 8. VinFast. Remember when VinFast was going to be the Vietnamese Tesla? That dream is over. US sales collapsed 57% to just 1,413 vehicles through October 2025. Let me put that in perspective. Toyota sells more Camrys in a single weekend. VinFast's US dealer network has cratered to 22 locations with only 17 actually holding inventory. They originally promised 125 stores by the end of 2024. Leith VinFast in Cary, North Carolina shut its doors on December 31, 2025. 2 California direct stores closed. Canadian locations in Vancouver, Toronto, and Laval all shut down. Chairwoman Thuy Tu Le confirmed VinFast has paused US dealer expansion entirely. When the founder of the company publicly says we are not opening any more stores, that is not a pivot. That is a white flag. The vehicles themselves have quality issues that owners document on forums daily. And with no service infrastructure left in most of the country, buying a VinFast is like buying a boat in a landlocked state. It might technically float, but good luck getting it to water. And if VinFast has a service problem, wait until you hear what happened to Nissan's luxury brand. Because Infiniti has been quietly dying for a decade and almost nobody noticed. Number 7. Infiniti. Infiniti has lost 57% of its US volume over the past 10 years. From roughly 134,000 vehicles in 2015 to barely 50,000 in 2025. 8 consecutive quarters of declining sales. The lineup has been gutted. No sedans remain. No battery electric vehicle exists or is coming anytime soon. And the brand is tangled up in Nissan's class action lawsuits over defective VC turbo engines. That recall started at 444,000 vehicles and expanded to more than 767,000, including Infiniti QX50 and QX55 models. Hague Partners, one of the biggest dealership valuation firms in the country, released a report saying dealer confidence in Infiniti is limited and the product pipeline is thin until at least 2026. Most Infiniti dealers survive on used car sales and service work, not new vehicle sales. That is not a car brand. That is a mechanic shop with a fancy sign out front. But Infiniti's parent company is not doing much better. We will get to Nissan later. First, there is a German brand that just earned the title of least reliable car brand in America, and it is a name you definitely know. Number 6. Volkswagen. Volkswagen just earned the worst score in the 2025 J.D. Power Vehicle Dependability Study. Dead last at 285 problems per 100 vehicles. The industry average is 202. That is not a little below average. That is 40% worse than the average car on the road. And the sales numbers match. VW's ID.4 electric SUV collapsed 95.6% in Q1 2026. They sold 338 of them. 338 in an entire quarter, in the entire United States. That is not a sales decline. That is a product that stopped existing in the market. VW's response was to kill US production of the ID.4 at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant in April 2026. That is a $480 to $600 million write-down on the $800 million they spent retooling the factory for EVs just a few years ago. So they spent $800 million converting a factory, built cars nobody wanted, and are now spending even more money to convert it back. You cannot make this stuff up. The ID.4 also had 2 recalls in January 2025, covering 44,000 units for battery fire risk, including a warning to park outside. When the manufacturer tells you not to keep the car in your garage, you have officially failed at building a car. Globally, VW Group is cutting 50,000 jobs by 2030. Profits fell 44%, and China, which used to be 40% of their global volume, has abandoned VW for domestic brands like BYD that build better EVs for less money. On top of everything, VW has no US factory for most of its lineup, making it one of the most tariff-exposed brands in America. The German engineering reputation that carried this brand for decades is in ruins. But if you think VW is in bad shape, wait until you see what is happening inside the Stellantis family. Because the Italian brands under that umbrella are hanging on by a thread. Number 5. Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo sold roughly 3,200 cars in the first half of 2025 across 108 US dealers. That works out to about 5 cars per store per month. 5. A lemonade stand in a good neighborhood moves more product than that. Q1 2026 sales dropped another 53%. Alfa's US boss, Chris Fuel, abandoned the all-electric plan in January 2025 and switched to a multi-energy strategy. She publicly warned that if 2024 repeats itself, they will lose dealers and need to rebuild the network instead of depleting it further. The lineup is down to 3 models: Giulia, Stelvio, and Tonale. All 2025 trim levels were consolidated into a single core trim to cut costs. Stellantis CEO Antonio Filosa is running what he calls an emergency room review of the entire brand portfolio. Reuters reported in December 2025 that Alfa Romeo is explicitly on the list of brands being considered for divestiture or shutdown. The romantic Italian sports car brand that enthusiasts loved is now being evaluated the way a hospital evaluates a patient on a ventilator. But Alfa looks healthy compared to another brand that tried something so radical it nearly erased itself from existence. Number 4. Jaguar. In April 2025, Jaguar sold 49 new cars across all of Europe. 49. That is a 97.5% drop from the same month the year before. You could count every single European Jaguar customer from that month on your fingers and toes and still have a toe left over. Global sales have fallen 85% from 180,000 in 2018 to about 27,000 in 2024. And it is getting worse. Jaguar deliberately stopped making most of its cars to prepare for an all-electric relaunch. The F-Pace is the only model still in production, and it ends in early 2026. The new EV GT based on the Type 00 concept does not reach showrooms until late 2026 at the earliest. That means Jaguar will have had almost no cars to sell for roughly 2 years. Think about any business you know. Imagine closing the doors for 2 years and expecting the customers to still be there when you reopen. That is not a strategy. That is wishful thinking with a marketing budget. Former CEO Adrian Mardell told investors the existing lineup was generating close to zero profitability. The Copy Nothing rebrand by Accenture song was mocked so universally that Elon Musk piled on. Jaguar Land Rover's entire group profitability is being held up almost entirely by Land Rover and Range Rover. Jaguar's contribution has shrunk to a low double-digit percentage of the company. The brand that once made the E-Type, one of the most beautiful cars ever designed, is now basically a line item on Land Rover's balance sheet that the accountants keep asking about. Dealers have near-empty showrooms, sales staff have been let go, and customers who might have waited for the new Jaguars already bought a Porsche or a Tesla instead. When your brand disappears from the road for 2 years, people do not wait. They forget. And forgetting is exactly what is happening to the next brand too. Except this company is not choosing to disappear. It is being dragged under by forces it cannot control. Number 3. Nissan. Nissan is forecasting a $4.2 billion net loss for the fiscal year ending March 2026. That number doubled from the previous quarter's projection. The company announced 20,000 layoffs globally, 9,000 already confirmed, 3 factories closing. Production capacity slashed from 5 million to 4 million vehicles. In the U.S., the Smyrna, Tennessee, and Canton, Mississippi plants went to reduced shifts with voluntary buyout packages for roughly 10,000 workers. Imagine being one of those people. You showed up every day, gave it everything, and now you are being told your job might not exist next quarter. That is not a statistic. That is a family trying to figure out how to make the mortgage payment while their employer decides whether to exist. And it gets worse. Nissan builds roughly 600,000 vehicles a year in Mexico for the U.S. market. Sentras, Versas, and Kicks all come from south of the border. With 25% tariffs now hitting Mexican imports, those cars just got dramatically more expensive to bring in. Nissan has no good options. Eat the tariff cost and lose even more money, or pass it to buyers who are already shopping Honda and Toyota instead. Nissan's quality problems are legendary at this point. The CVT class action covering Muranos and Maximas settled in July 2025. The VC turbo engine defect recall ballooned to over 767,000 vehicles. Customers who bought a Nissan for reliable Japanese transportation got $5,000 repair bills and trade-in values that make you want to cry. Even Nissan's supply chain is crumbling. Marelli Holdings, a major parts supplier for Nissan, Stellantis, and Tesla, filed Chapter 11 in June with over $700 million in unsecured debt. When your own suppliers are going bankrupt, that tells you something about how healthy the contracts are. New CEO Ivan Espinosa is targeting 1 million U.S. sales as part of a multi-year recovery. But the product is stale. The Frontier is outdated. The Altima competes only on price. The Z was supposed to be a halo car, and it barely moved the needle. Nissan is offering incentives so aggressive they border on irrational. 0% for 84 months. $10,000 rebates. Rogue lease deals cheaper than some economy cars. When you are practically giving vehicles away, the end game is close. And speaking of end games, the next brand on this list might be writing the final chapter of one of the most dramatic falls in automotive history. Number 2. Maserati. Maserati's global sales went from 26,600 in 2023 to 11,300 in 2024 to roughly 7,900 in 2025. That is a 70% collapse in 3 years. Let me say that again because the number is so insane. 70% of their customers vanished in 36 months. The brand is losing an estimated 27 euros on every 100 euros of revenue. They are literally paying for the privilege of selling cars. Stellantis took a 613 million euro impairment on Maserati platforms as part of their massive 25 billion euro write-down. The Ghibli, the Quattroporte, and the Levante have all been discontinued, leaving just the Grecale, the Gran Turismo, the Gran Cabrio, and the MC20. And almost nobody is buying any of them. Ferrari sold more cars. Lamborghini sold more cars. Porsche sold more 911s in the US alone than Maserati sold globally across its entire lineup. And the people who did buy Maseratis over the past few years are watching their values crater. A 3-year-old Maserati loses roughly 60 to 70% of its original sticker price. You buy a $130,000 Quattroporte, and 3 years later, it is worth maybe 40 grand. That is $90,000 in depreciation. About 83 bucks a day evaporating from your driveway. TrueCar lists the 2025 Grecale lease at $1,038 a month, the MC20 at $3,454 a month. Those are mortgage payments, not car payments. Maserati dealer websites across the country, from Fort Lauderdale to Tyson's Corner to Coral Gables, are showing a placeholder that says they are currently updating their offers and incentives. That is corporate speak for, "We have no idea what to charge anymore." Reuters reported in December 2025 that Maserati sits at the very top of the brand Stellantis is most likely to dump. Honestly, I'm not sure who would buy it at this point. Buying Maserati right now is like buying a restaurant where the chef quit, the health inspector is on the way, and the Yelp reviews are all 1 star. But believe it or not, there is one brand in even worse shape, and it is an American name that used to mean something. Number 1. Chrysler. This is the brand that shocked me the most. Chrysler's entire current lineup is one vehicle, the Pacifica minivan. That is it. One car. One. The Voyager, which was really just a stripped-down Pacifica, is gone. The 300 sedan is gone. The all-electric Halcyon crossover concept that was supposed to save the brand got shelved. Twice. Chrysler ranked second worst in the 2025 J.D. Power Vehicle Dependability Study at 282 problems per 100 vehicles. Only Volkswagen scored worse, and VW sells 10 times the volume. Stellantis CEO Antonio Filosa's emergency room review has Chrysler under direct viability scrutiny alongside Alfa Romeo and Maserati. Detroit Free Press analyst Mark Phelan publicly recommended that Stellantis keep the Pacifica nameplate and drop the expensive charade of pretending Chrysler is still a real car brand. Meanwhile, Stellantis posted a $26.3 billion net loss for 2025, their first annual loss since the merger. Moody's downgraded Stellantis to Baa3, one notch above junk status. Jerry Ray Davis, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Owensboro, Kentucky, filed Chapter 11 in January 2025 and got auctioned off in March for $7.65 million. A dealership that served a local community for years, gone in a bankruptcy auction for less than the price of a nice house in some zip codes. 72% of Stellantis dealers told Kerrigan Advisors they have no trust in the company. That is the highest no-trust score in the history of the survey. Chrysler went from being one of the big three to being a brand that sells one minivan and prays nobody notices it is still technically alive. Look, I am not an analyst, but when your entire brand is one car, your parent company just lost $26 billion, your credit rating is one step from junk, and your own CEO is asking whether you should exist, that is not a turnaround story. That is a eulogy that has not been read out loud yet. Which of these 13 brands shocked you the most? Drop a comment below telling me which one you think actually goes bankrupt first. And if you found this video valuable, smash that like button so more people understand what is really happening behind the friendly commercials and big rebates.